Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get some time. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 10th of June and we got FOMC day today. So let's go in and check out how they've been doing, shall we? Overnight, yesterday, let's start yesterday. Yesterday, the overnight session was down. We had a little bit of a recovery up. We did hit the volatility target, which was around 21. Well, actually, I think the target was around 26, but you know. Then they fell a little bit overnight, So we're bouncing between the weekly open and 32.30 or so. We come over into the treasuries. The treasuries continue to creep up a little bit. And we're seeing a little bit of flattening in the 2 and 10. Ooh, a little bit of a steepener happening on the higher end of the curve again, though. And the 2 and 10 is flattening, but the rest of the curve is not. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Oil down up a little bit. Gold continues to rise. Jeffrey Gunlike yesterday. He was very bearish the dollar and bullish gold. The bond king. Hey, you can see here the dollar down almost below 96 now. So continues to go down. And you can see the 6J continues to strengthen, which has been very correlated with movement up in the treasuries. But it's coming back. Maybe they're going to turn. So we'll see. Yeah, that kind of puts where we're at. I see a KSF. Let's... I don't know what he meant by onset. That must have been an autocorrector. Let's earn some money. Well, today, because it's FOMC day, unless I see a really good trend to begin in treasuries, which I'm not necessarily expecting, I don't know if we're going to put on a whole lot of risk. So I'm still going to come over here and make sure that I'm on my throwaway account on Sim, my experimentation one. Yep. And we'll see. T-Bone, didn't know you did live trading. I found your channel 2 weeks ago because I wanted to learn how to code Ninja Trader and translate from other languages. Your channel has been a great help. Oh, thank you very much, T-Bone. I need to make some more videos, but I guess I've been lazy this week. Lazy the past 2 weeks. You know what? I'm at the end of a weightlifting cycle. And so I've been focusing in the evening, just pure relax. Although I didn't do a very good job yesterday just because I didn't get to sleep at a very good time. Didn't get to bed until 10:30, and I don't think I actually fell asleep until midnight. So I only got like 5 hours of sleep. Probably will take a nap before the main event. But yeah, if you have problems, we have the Discord, right? So you can ask questions in the programming channel, although sometimes I don't notice right away. But and if you do, it really helps to have the code, right? But if you don't want to do that, you can always just message me on Discord. So oh, let's turn on the text to speech. There we go. Let's do it. Don't need that.
Masiak says I was on quarantine on May, but everything ends good.
Yeah. So you did you have it? Did you have it? Man, I've got like the burps. My stomach is all messed up and I can feel like I'm probably getting heartburn in my chest or something. It'll calm down. I want to check. Oh, I got something on somebody. I made a fun little indicator for somebody on Futures IO, and they're messaging me about it now. Let's see what they wanted.
Masiak says no, I have suspicious but don't got it.
See, I went and got tested. I got tested, but I didn't have it. Got tested for antibodies. Cool. He liked it. He liked it.
T-Bone21 says, do you have any recommendations for great trend following indicator for futures?
Trend following. Well, so first of all, I always got to put the addendum up there that technical analysis is of limited utility, but trend is definitely something that you want to put out there, right? Like the way in which I think technical analysis indicators are most useful is giving you quantitative ways.
Masiak says me too.
Quantitative ways of in showing what the market is doing. You can quantitatively measure it. And so here's two things relating to trend that I have found useful. Oh, I actually don't have one of them. One of them I don't have on here. Let's just make a new chart so that you can see these indicators with just those indicators. We do an ES 1 minute. Only need like the past 2 days. Okay. So there's kind of two of them, and you can get these on lizard indicators is really the way to go. But I kind of have ones from John Bottomley that are a little advanced, I guess. So one of them is adaptive CCI, and the other one is super smoother. So let me show it to you on the chart here first. Okay. So here's your super smoother. So super smoother is really good at showing you what the trend is and kind of smoothing out all of the noise without being slow. Okay. So he's actually, the way that this works is it actually uses the same kind of mathematical formulas that they use in like audio and electricity filters to filter out noise. So you can see it's extremely responsive. It filters out the noise, but it's still extremely responsive. So super smoother filter is really, really good. And then the other one here that I've got is the CCI. And the thing that is great about the CCI is that the CCI tells you how strong a trend is compared to what has been going on. And this particular one, both of these are things that were invented by a guy named Euler, who is kind of the latest breakthroughs in technical analysis was Euler. From my knowledge, maybe there's something more recent that I'm not familiar with, but Euler. And what he does in the adaptive CCI is you kind of get this aliasing problem where what the value that you might get if you put it on a 1 minute chart versus a 5 minute chart or where the bars start could be different. So this adaptive CCI kind of adapts to the time frames so that you can see what the trend is compared to times past with it being able to adjust and be relative, right? So you can see here, for instance, when we had this big move up, it was a big trend. So yes, that's why I like the CCI, is that it gives you a specific measurable, how trendy was it, right? And you can, like for instance, this one back here is a really good example. It was a really strong trend down. Like anything below 200 is really strong, but there's no limit to how far it can go. 300, that's a really strong trend, right? Eh, if this is going down and the trend is still increasing, this line is still moving down, probably don't want to fade that. So yeah, if you're looking for trend, those are probably the two that I would look at. And like I said, I believe that those are both available from Lizard Indicators and other places as well. Okay, well, while we've been blabbing, there's been a move in the treasuries. I guess I would expect. Oh well, we had news too. Can't discount that, can we? Looks like they moved up on the news. So the inflation rate, month over month, -0.1, with the core inflation rate being 1.2 versus an expected 1.3. So essentially, inflation is still negative, and that's going to push treasuries up because that means that there's no need for the Federal Reserve to increase rates. Well, maybe there is, but let's not get into that one, shall we? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Anyways, I was reading here. There's this other thing that Gary Norton has a scalping manual. And from the reviews that I've read on it so far, some people think that it's really, really great. And other people think that it's not worth $1,000. And in particular, the one that I'm seeing is people saying, well, this information is elsewhere, and you didn't really add anything new, and they just didn't think that it was worth it very much. And so the question is, are the people that think that the scalping manual is great just not as informed and didn't know that this information was out there, and that's why it's useful to them? Or is it the case that the people that don't think it's worth it don't realize the importance of certain things in there, like they just didn't necessarily get it, or they didn't pick out the things that were actually critical and that you don't see anywhere else, right? And the only way I think to figure that out is to get those two people in a room together and talk about it. And I guess if they still come out and disagree, then maybe it's just a matter of opinion. But maybe one of them realizes, oh, I didn't realize that was important, or the other person will realize, oh, I didn't know that information was already out there. I feel chipped. Hmm. CPI. Kind of. I should have been paying better attention there. I don't see. Is there anything later than that, other than the Fed decision? Not really. Okay, well, I don't know. But today might be a boring day, guys, because I don't really see a whole lot of reason to be taking a trade here. Like, I think they made the move on CPI. I'm not sure that we can say that this is just going to continue up and just go and go and go. Like, maybe it'll happen. You never know, but I don't see anything to necessarily say that it's going to. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Sure. Yeah, I'm done with that thread. So there is this other thread.
Bob the Builder says, Seth, are you looking for geometry patterns?
No. I've never heard. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, Bob the Builder, to be honest.
Bob the Builder says, slightly smiling face.
Is that some form of technical analysis that I'm not 100% familiar with? I'm looking for like a square on the chart or something like that. I don't understand.
Bob the Builder says AB equals CD.
So are you talking about, like the sort of like the sort of a thing? These sorts of patterns? Yes.
Bob the Builder says yes.
So let me tell you something about this. There's an indicator.
Max Suniga says geometry on the charts is making trades based off of measured moves.
Well, you know what? I think that a measured move is a thing. Or it can be a thing. So let me put it this way first. When it comes to technical analysis, I am much more interested in things that will tell me where it is going to go to rather than where it is going or where it is. Does that make sense? So like, for instance, when I come over here into my volume profile, I can see that there's been a lot of interest at this, 3210 area or so. Today we're trading above that. If we move down, 3210 or 08, around there is a good spot. And 3198, 30 to 30, well, I'm kind of spitballing it, but those are areas that there's going to be interest in the future. Right. So that to me is using technical analysis to try and predict where it's going to go. And if we have a measured move, then that's also something that's predicting where it's going to go, right? We're saying, okay, we had one move up, we're going to have another move up, and it's going to be equal in position, and that means that the distribution is going to be here. So I do think that a measured move sort of a thing is useful. Okay. But I need to make another chart here. You know what? I should just keep a chart over here because I think that we have the time to talk about this stuff today. Because I don't foresee myself making a lot of trades. So let's just keep it over here. Okay. So here's our I'll put it down here. Here's our 1 minute chart again. Okay. There's another indicator. Ninja Trader comes with one called Swing, I think it is. There's Swing. Swing kind of puts these little lines on there, but I don't like that one. There is, I think it was Poncho that did it. Yeah, price action swing. This one right here. Remove that. Okay. So he's got this thing that basically tries to identify the swings. And then, how do I say? You got to be careful with it because what will happen is like it'll draw it here and then it goes lower and goes, oh, okay, it's here. So it can change where the pivots are after the fact. So if you try and if you try and use a strategy on this, you're going to have there's some problems with it. Okay. But I digress. There are things that you can look at with it. One of the things that this indicator does that's really nifty, and I'm going to show you a secret now. So this is Poncho's price action swing. All right. Ninja script editor. Poncho price action swing. Let's see here if I can find it. Oh, I know you're in here somewhere. These are all these calculations. This is like one of the more complicated indicators I've seen, actually. Oh, I have them. I think I already have mine modified. So there's like these plots here, like double bottom, higher low,
Max
higher
Suniga
high.
says, yeah, those type of indicators show info too late for an entry emo. Price action shows more current info.
Right. Okay. So there's these other plots that I can add, supposedly. See if I can get it to show up. Maybe I already have them. Forget how to make it show though. Okay. So now I can make it show. Okay, so it's saying right here that this is a double top. That there was a swing down and it turned at exactly the same spot again. Right? And there's also ones for higher high, higher low, and all of that sort of stuff. So I went and I did a test. I don't think I have it anymore. I think that one I trashed when maybe it's still there. I'm pretty sure though that I got rid of it. Yeah, I did. Well, I went and I wrote an indicator that was like, okay, so if you actually do use it for entries, and I had a specific way of identifying when it was like a true turn, and particularly when it was like a double top. And okay, so there's that one thing. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Then there's another way. This is a little bit more reliable. So this one, oh, do I have it in? Oh, I must just have it down here. Price pivots. Okay, so this is my version of it. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing the same thing. I'm not drawing the line, but basically I create a pivot, and the way that I identify that a pivot is confirmed. So can you see? It's probably hard to see here on a super small screen, but there's like a little triangle here to say that's where the pivot was, and then a little bit later there's a circle, and that is where the pivot was confirmed. That's when it's a confirmed pivot, and the way that we confirm it is that we have a bar where the close is above the high of the previous bar, and vice versa on the other side. The code for this actually ended up being really complicated, so this is one of the ones that we're a little bit more proud of. Also, it's cool because you can see it draws a line out, and then it tells you when the line got canceled out, which is really cool. Anyways, so we kind of started doing stats based off of this, and the conclusion that I've come to, and although I think we probably could do some more work on it if people really really want to, but the conclusion that I made was that when you have something like this, okay. Say you're coming down and you have a higher low, and you want to take it long or short there for so many ticks. Sometimes it does this, and sometimes it does this, and it's pretty random. So my conclusion off of that was that The higher high and higher low stuff is not really all that reliable of a technical indicator. Um, I when I did the price action swing one, in fact, taking it like a higher high, higher low, or even a double top and things like that, actually had negative edge. Like if I faded it, I would make money. If I faded the price action swing oscillator, which was like, whoa, okay. There wasn't enough edge in it for it to be like really, really worth trading, but there was some edge in it. It appeared to me that somebody in the market was actively trading against the strategy when I looked at it. I wish I kept that one, but when I moved the computer over, I was like, well, I don't need this. I don't need this. So I didn't copy those ones over. And we could rewrite it, I guess. Anyways, so that's why you'll always hear me when we have like a really big move up and we pull back. You'll always hear me say like, this is the hardest trade for me because you don't actually know if it's going to continue or if it's going to retrace. I think that there are some instances where you really do know based on the fundamentals, but nothing that I have seen so far convinces me that you have any chance of accurately predicting that with technical analysis. If you do, maybe you could get a 5% edge or something like that, right? It's just so tiny. So that's where I kind of going into the technical analysis thing is like very often in technical analysis, we're trying to pick, okay, is it going to go up or down from here? And I have found that technical analysis isn't very good at that. If you really want to make that kind of a call, you want to use like a stochastics. Like, I can do the, well, I don't have it. I don't have the Mesa one, but you can use Lizard's roofing filter. And then in the roofing filter for your input series, instead of doing the E-mini chart, I can come in here and I can use like stochastics or stochastics RSI. Let's try the RSI one. And then on this one, instead of using close, I'll use the typical. 14 period is fine. Okay. So then you get this kind of oscillator sort of a thing, right? And this is pretty good. You can see here where it turned. Did an okay job there. Probably we need to modify the period and stuff, but like it does a pretty good job of telling you where it could potentially turn. So you do something like if it gets below 0.4, then you take it. Here you can see, okay, you were a bar late, would have been okay. Good trade, right? You can do that one, but that's just kind of trying to look at the squiggliness of it, right? That's just telling you, oh, it's gone down far enough that there's a pretty good chance it's going to snap back a little bit. But you still, I think, to take that one, you still kind of have to have a really clear idea of what you think the larger trend is. So that's my opinion on those. As I said, it's to me, I think that something that tells you which prices are value are way more useful in technical analysis, right? Let's remove these. Let me show you another thing that you can do. That's kind of cool. Spitballing. If you disagree with me, disagree with me. I really want to. So here's the thing. We're still going through this. Like, I think that you really want to rely largely on fundamentals to make your trades. And I'm of the opinion that like a purely mechanical system for a retail trader is just not an achievable goal. It can work, but you would probably need like a whole group of people and some really advanced algorithms and programming that we're not using. I haven't seen in the retail space and that I'm not sophisticated enough to come up with. Okay, so I wanted to do order flow volume profile. Okay, so we kind of got this thing here. You can do a volume profile. Well, let's just do one that's volume and one that's not. Oh, cool. It already added two for me. Okay, so that one was volume. Let's change this one to price. Draw mode, letters, boxes. Oh, I don't know. Okay. And what do you do? Let's just apply it for a moment. Let's see what we get. It might crash Ninja Trader. This is the kind of indicator that could crash Ninja Trader. Everything going on. Oh, cool. It did it, actually. Okay. So it's drawing it with boxes. So what is it telling us? Okay, well, for volume point of control, you really got your volume point of control at 3215. But when you look at the amount of time that is spent, there's actually some real value out here at 3222. Makes sense? So that's another technical analysis that's like, okay, that's a spot that might be interesting. The way that I do it, one of the things that I do is I'm looking up here. You can see one right now at 30. I mean, it's already pretty well established because that's the point of control for the whole session. But you notice that they're not bidding or offering a whole lot at that price at 137.30, right? He's only offering about 400. If it trades down, you'll probably see, 500 to 700 on the offer. And you will see that trade back and forth many times. There you go. 500 on the offer, 500 on the bid. So you can see here, people are willing to buy and sell it at this price. They agree on this price. Ideally, if you were going to buy it, you would rather buy it at 29.5, right? If you were going to sell it, you'd rather sell it at 30.5. But, what are your chances of getting filled at 30.5? Well, if they buy into you, there's actually a really good chance that they just go through you. So that one doesn't necessarily make sense. So you end up selling 30. And that's what causes that. It's because they've come to a spot where the buying and selling interest is about equal. And so that becomes a value price. So if we were to, let's say that we were to move up and I started seeing, let's just say there was just a small trend. And then I started to see that behavior at that price, at a price where it ticks up, but they only bid 500 instead of 1,000 on the bid up. And then they sell it back down, relatively quickly after that. And then I see it bid back up. Like that at that point, already I know that there is some amount of agreement. And so you can actually predict where these point of controls are going to show up from just from watching the way that the bid and ask behave in the 10-year. That's technical analysis. I call it technical analysis because it's based on market generated information. It's order flow because it's based on orders. You can't see it just with price and volume. You have to be able to see the actual orders. So it's order flow. But it's something that can kind of give you an idea of a price that there's an agreement on. And then if we move away from that and then we come back, that price is going to be a price you want to watch because there's a good chance that they're going to trade it again. Man, I've got like the burps today. I don't know what I did to my stomach, but we'll take all these off because you guys will ask me another question. I'll be like, okay, let's add a couple more. Let's add some more indicators to it. Okay. Let me just get a bear chart. Well, the E-mini kind of looks like they're going to turn back down. I don't know for sure. Ugh. My elbow has been. I think that I like cracked the edge of my elbow, and there's like this little hole there. And I'm wondering if, because sometimes my elbow has been like feeling inflamed or something, and I'm wondering if like I have a piece of it floating around there or something that I need to get taken out. I don't know. Now, price action, I haven't seen. My understanding. So here's something that I find interesting because I haven't really gone that deep into price action. Let me show you something that I've learned about price action that kind of bothered me. Right. So here's the question: if I wanted to learn price action, where should I go? I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second to type it because I think I know what you're going to say. I think I know what you're going to say. Huh? I haven't posted on tradingschools.org for a while. Not since. Oh well, actually no. They've done. They did one in June. They've done a few in June. Yeah, I love all these. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. Oh, Brooks. Right, he's the price action king. They gave him 1.7 stars. Honesty, he got 2 stars. Verified trades, 1 star. User experience. Okay. I think if I recall correctly, yeah. The summary: Al Brooks is a charlatan, no track record.
Bob the Builder says I have got his book.
Yeah. Claims to be a full-time professional day trader, yet can provide absolutely zero proof. Trading books are highly subjective, unscientific mumbo-jumbo with no backtesting of trading concepts. Live Trading Room is an exhibition of palm reading, fortune cookie wisdom, crystal ball divination, modernist voodoo, cult leader fanaticism, and Harry Potter magical thinking. A specialist of doublespeak where the left ear hears the trample of bulls while the right ear simultaneously hears the mauling from bears. A circle jerk, waste of time carnival attraction meant to sucker the newbie into believing that an actual wizard is behind the curtain. I was really shocked because this is the website that I always say, like, you want to know if something is like legitimate, go and read their tradingschools.org review and see what they say about that. You know, if they don't, if they talk about them but they don't do like a full review, then that is already like a big warning sign. So it basically means that the person is not selling enough of a product to even be worth reviewing, which has happened a few times. But I was surprised to see that Al Brooks got such a bad review. And I am pretty sure at this point, just based off of what I see on Facebook, they're breaking out a little bit there. Looks like they're going to go. Interestingly enough, Treasury's at the high while the E-mini's moving up there. I see a little bit of dollar weakness coming in here. Might be part of it. I do see the euro moving a little bit more than the others. Keep an eye on that. Anyways, it's that based on, especially on Facebook, price action has got to be the most common thing. And the thing that I always think is funny about it is that they're like no chart. no indicators. They consider it that it's not technical analysis. They call it price action, but it is technical analysis. You're just looking at the bar and determining how much the bar is. It's a form of technical analysis. It's bar analysis. It's just like candlestick patterns, from my understanding of it. In order to say that it's not technical analysis, it has to incorporate it has to incorporate an element of fundamental analysis in it, which is, looking at what's actually going on. So like here would be something, and I think one problem that we have in our vernacular is that we assume like technical analysis is like looking at numbers and statistics and charts and stuff. No, I think that technical analysis is looking at market generated information, and fundamental analysis is looking at information generated from outside of the market. So when you come over here, like let me show you this one, zero hedge. Where was he? Where is it? Might have to go to the next page. Maybe it was on the previous page. Man.
Bob the Builder says Zero Hedge is Russian troll.
Is it a Russian troll? Probably he is. Well, he always thinks the world is ending, man. I don't know. Well, it's not that. He's just really doesn't like what the central bank has been doing, and he's been against it for 10 years. And if you listen to him, then of course you missed the whole QE era, which was really good trading. But I digress. Here it is. Okay. So here on Zero Hedge, though, the thing that's cool about Zero Hedge, in my opinion, is that they go and they find these notes that you would really only have access to if you were in a big firm, that tell you a lot about where money is moving in the market. Okay. So the big takeaways on this one was that Jeffrey Gunlock is bullish on gold. Okay. Remember, he's considered the largest bond investment manager. Okay. So he's like the Warren Buffett of bonds, I guess. He would like gold, and he thinks that the dollar will continue to weaken. Okay. So this is a chart. I guess this is market generated information. But we're using this market generated information to try and tell us something about the market. Okay, we can see that the 10-year and gold are running pretty closely in line. Okay, here's something. We're looking at corporate triple B issuances
Ishay
versus
Almali says
double
good
Bs
morning.
to see the difference in the yields. I think we can get a little bit better. Global bank stocks. Okay, so here he's looking at the unemployment rate, for instance. Okay, this is 100% fundamental information, but it's on a chart. It's on a chart. Does it tell us something? Well, it tells us that unemployment is really bad right now on both measures. Fundamental, by the way. Good morning, Ishay. Well, I don't know what LEI year over year is. Conference Board U.S. Leading Index, 10 economic indicators. Okay, so these are 10 fundamental indicators combined together into some sort of an oscillator of sorts. And he's saying, I guess, that on the oscillator, it's not as bad on those leading economic indicators as it was in 2008. So we could just have a V-shaped recovery. Okay, like what is it? It's fundamental analysis because it's based on data from outside of the market, and it's based on trying to analyze flows between markets, but it's still using a chart, and it's still looking at, okay, based on the chart, what can it tell us about potential future movement? Cool. I don't know if I made the point very well, but we'll work on it. Oh, I wonder, dude, did they have what is Euler's website? Let's see here. Euler trading. Oh, it's EHLER. Do I find it that if I search trading schools for him? No. I think he has a website though. I think he has a website. Mesa Software? MESA? Oh, it comes up with a 1. I don't think that's let's just try searching Google. It doesn't look like he's really reviewed them. Is this the right website? I think it is. It was like it wasn't a very well made website. Well, anyways, Euler's seems to me to be the guy that's done the most useful work in technical analysis as of late. Oh, are they gonna go? They gonna go? Well, the E-mini did turn down, and that was kind of in correlation with them moving. Well, let's see. I'm probably missing a ton of stuff in Twitter here. Let's go check.
JB says good morning.
Hello, how are you? It's been a few days, JB. CHK started the bankruptcy move higher 4 days ago. Okay. That's the market year. There isn't a single down stock in the S&P over the last 10 weeks. Yeah, of course not. They did the little thing with Small Exchange and Edge Clear yesterday. We should go and watch that. They haven't been doing a whole lot of. Our people haven't been doing a whole lot of chatting
Lucas says
lately.
Guten Morgen, Seth.
Hey, how are you, Lucas? GovTrader, here you are all equally worthless talking about BLM.
RJ Wheel says it's a good time for monkeys and dartboard. JB says hi, recently joined your YouTube channel. I am new to trading.
Oh, this
Lucas
is a
says,
different
did you roll
JB.
to September in S?
You know what? I haven't. We should look at that. I expect that they're still going to trade this one. Let's see if, yeah. See, it's not telling me to roll over yet. It's telling me to move over oil. Let's do that. Does that change anything on my volume profile when I look at oil? No, it's about the same. Oh, wait, hold on. It's loading. Yeah, it's still the same. So I have not moved. We could go and look, but I really wish that NinjaTrader 8 had a better system for handling multiple expiries. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could say, like you can in TradingView, always the latest month, always the next month. Because if I want to come in here and like add it over, I have to, add another symbol into my market thing, and it's only for a day, and it just kind of screws up a bunch of things. Mm-mm. Let's see here. Joe Scarborough. Oh, what was I saying? The idea that everybody is equally worthless is an idea that is appealing to me, but we should be um sensitive and
Lucas says
of
true,
other
lots of
people's feelings.
optimizations left. Hope they improve this in NT9.
They got an NT9 in the works? That would be exciting. There's a couple of things about the platform in general that I think that they could improve upon. You know what was something that kind of bothered me was like when they added
Lucas
the
says I hope so
volume
lol.
profile. Yeah, oh okay. When they added the volume profile, I really think that what they should do is right now you've got panels, right? Here's the main price, and then when I add an indicator, it adds a panel down here, and
RJ
I print
Wheels
it
says
down in
I'm
there.
still on Ninja 7.
Oh, really? That's funny. Um, Yeah, if you're gonna write stuff, it's so much better in NinjaTrader 8. But I digress. I think that they should have vertical panels, and that they can put the volume profile kind of stuff on that. I think that would have been like way more useful. But it's little things like that.
RJ Wheels says I don't want to rewrite indicators.
Mm, well, what's the indicator that you're using on NinjaTrader 7, or rather, what does it do? Because I don't really think that there's anything left that's not in NinjaTrader 8. The thing is that the programming is the framework in NinjaTrader 8 is so much better that basically any indicator that you got in NinjaTrader 7 is almost trivial to convert over, even if you remake it from scratch.
RJ Wheels says my own.
Well, still, that's why I was like, what does it do? Because like it might be really trivial to convert it. Especially like this is something that drives me crazy. Just drives me crazy is like I like to write indicators for people, but here's the requests that I get.
RJ
Holy
Wheels says
grails.
holy grails.
They're like, okay, well, what I'm doing is
RJ Wheels says lol.
I'm taking a derivative of price and then I'm applying this equation to it and stuff like that. It's like, okay, it's just the most for me as a programmer, the most boring stuff. Like there's got to be something special about it. There's got to be like logic and data structures, and it's got to be more than just math on price. Everything that I see is just math on price. It's like, guys, a robot could just like randomly stumble upon what you're using. What makes you think that it's effective at saying where price is going to go? Hmm.
T-Bone21 says seems easier to translate from another language like MT4 or thinks CRPT.
Nah, it's really
JB says I
it's
am
really
currently
quite
in the
easy.
process the writing the script that looks at price and in volume at level 2. Do you have any tips or resources I could look at?
Well, yeah. So, I have a video where I show you how to make an indicator based on level 2. So it's the key functions video that I've got on my channel. But the gist of it is, if you want to do something when the bar does something, like the bar on the chart, that's on. Sorry, what is it called? Brain fart. On bar update. That's what it's called. I didn't have to look it up. I remembered it. There's on bar update. That's when the bar does something. And then there's on market data. That's when you get orders coming in. And then there's on market depth. And that's when the level 2 changes. So all you've got to do is just use those 3 methods. And in the method signature, there's an object that gets passed to you that has the data for that iteration. And then you just work it from there. When you're doing things that deal with market data or market depth, generally speaking, you're going to be updating some data in a dictionary of some sort. And that's how you do it. So it would be interesting to know what you're doing with it. But, I have level 2 indicators that I haven't put out or anything, but these ones down at the bottom, this is the bottommost one is large bids. The next one is large offers, and then the next one above that is like total depth. But I'm using a little bit of a I wouldn't call it super complicated, but I'm using a little bit of an algorithm to determine like the hidden depth.
Winston's mom says FOMC day. Trading Futures livestream, the 10th of June 2018 watching now, started streaming 55 minutes ago and please hit like, thanks.
Thanks, man. So like if when we're on the DOM and say that like somebody added 1,000 onto here, and then they took it off. With most indicators that you get out there, they just show you what the close value was. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for the maximum that it's ever been. So it's like the maximum confirmable liquidity of any in that given time period. And I found that to be really useful. And at the very least, it gives you a clear idea of the market balance.
JB says thank you.
So that's what I've done with it. I want to go and make my own market depth at some point, but I don't know if I care enough. So you're kind of getting into some spots where I don't know what they call them, but the pivots, they seem to think that they're important pivot points. We could go back down to yesterday's close, 3205. Scott Adams retweeting Ian Miles Cheong. It's unfortunate that most of you don't have job security to be able to express rational thoughts without being excoriated for. You have to pretend to embrace delusion and follow the woke narrative just to save your job. Free speech is dead. Well, yes and no. On one hand, it really bothers me when people are, basically punished for expressing their opinion. But on the other hand, I have seen a lot of really toxic opinions spouted out. I try and be a little bit balanced about it, right? Like, obviously, some people have legitimate grievances, but then there's also a degree of like mass hysteria behind it too, where the problem is not really as big as at least statistically, it's not as significant as some people claim. And the one that I think is really weird is this CrossFit thing. So I do Olympic weightlifting. I don't do CrossFit, and I don't think I ever will, but I do Olympic weightlifting. So we're really familiar with the CrossFit community. And there's this guy that has been kind of like in charge of CrossFit for a long time. And he is he's made a couple of choices that I think aren't very good. And CrossFit could probably be more successful without him. Let's just say let's just say that this isn't the first time that he's done something controversial, all right? And he made some tweet equating Black Lives Matter and COVID-19 together. And people were very, very upset with him about it. And Reebok ended their sponsorship with them, and I'm like, of all of the things, that's finally what breaks Reebok and CrossFit. I couldn't believe it. It's quite shocking. Ooh, I'm getting a little shaky. Am I getting a earthquake? Just a little bit of an earthquake. Still going a little bit. Well, it's been a few days, but that was definitely an earthquake. uh, hmm. Oh, aftershock. Aftershock. Let's see here. Earthquake monitor. Something like that. There's got to be like the latest earthquakes. There's going to be one. It's going to show up here. No. Earthquake Twitter, maybe?
Winston's mom says magnitude 3.2 earthquake 45 miles from West Wendover, NV June 7th, 3:56 a.m.
No, it was just now. Okay, so I do see one that was in Nevada. Banning, Trinidad. Nah, it was in Utah. I'm sure I'll see it pop up here in a second. It must have been really far away.
Bob the Builder says hi at Winston's mom. Winston's mom says magnitude 2.6 earthquake affected countries, United States and Mexico 19 miles from Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico June 4th, 11:23 a.m. Winston's mom says hi, Bob the Builder.
I think we'll see an earthquake between 4 to 6 but maybe farther away. Like who knows how far away. There's another aftershock. Who knows? We might get a bigger shock. Okay, that. Maybe it's not an earthquake.
Winston's mom says oof June 4th, my mistake.
Maybe they're doing some construction close by or something. I'm not seeing anything on Twitter. And it keeps going. Well, I hear something outside. Let me go check. They've been doing stuff in the yard behind us.
RJ Wheel says they're working on the underground base in Utah.
They're working on the underground base. No. So we got this kind of this weird. So the place where we built our house, this guy used to own a ton of land. It's so weird because he was a millionaire off of all this land. You would think that he would, sell. You could sell it all and move, but no, he didn't do that. He just kept the old house that he always lived in and never really took advantage of it. But his kids have it now, and they sold it all, and that was part of where my house was built. And but they didn't sell all of it. They kept one lot to do stuff with, and they'd been using it. Well, there's like a garden there, but now this past week there's been like a digger up there, and it looks like they're digging. It looks like they're digging up dirt and trucking it off. And the my wife's says I guess spoke to the wife over there, and she won't say what it is that they're building. They're something they've always wanted to do, but they won't say what they're building. I think it's probably a pool, because why else would you need to dig? Well, we'll see. But I think that what I might have been feeling is that. See, there's another little shake. It must be them moving that dirt is somehow shaking the whole neighborhood. Well, do you think that treasuries can continue up from here? I mean, it's just been a pretty steady march here.
RJ Wheel says bunker.
I don't really see anything to really, really push back against this up until like let's say 138.04. Well, the E-mini's trying to make a little move up here. Here's going to be the open. I bet you they're going to try and buy the open. Okay.
RJ Wheel says bunkers are coming back into fashion.
No clear initial. Treasury's kind of moved up there and then ticked back. Actually, looks like they're selling it now. So sometimes when it opens, you'll see immediately like a huge change in cumulative delta, but that didn't happen today. The first impulse is down, but it's just by a few hundred contracts. Come back over here and check. Yeah, I don't think it was an earthquake. I no longer think it was an earthquake. Okay. So buy now. I don't know if I have a really good read here on whether it's going to go up or down today. Let's look at the trend. Well, so it looks like today we're still kind of on the negative volume overall, at least starting negative. Donald Trump retweeting Attorney General Bill Barr for the first time in history. Police organizations and national security organizations were used to spy on a campaign, and there was no basis for it. The media largely drove that, and claims were made that could have affected the election of the president. From the Attorney General. MLS to restart its season with tournaments starting on July 8th. That's cool, I guess. Okay, well, they made a little bit of a move up. Now they're going to test the other side of the open, I guess. Okay. So they're moving down, although the treasuries are not at their highs. You might be able to buy a one. The Hill, George Floyd and Derek Chauvin bumped heads while working together at the nightclub, former coworker says. That could be important because that could prove premeditation or at least incentive to kill. That could help establish a murder to charge. I don't know if it's important to the market, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, so here we are. Looks like we're going to come back to yesterday's open. At least. Okay.
Bob the Builder says seems like S want to go on S.
Okay. Oh, I can see 3,200 as well. Just remember, though, there's this spot at 3192 that if they get below that, then it's like crazy time. Okay. Might get a pivot here. It's looking pretty good so far, at least. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, they stopped it. It was so close. I think it will still do it, but Johnson & Johnson to begin human trials of vaccine in second half of July. Apparently the NQ opened up quite a bit higher. Okay. That one still doesn't confirm it, but it was close. I'm just popping around. News, see if we got anything interesting going on. There was a little dip there in gold. Uber close to exiting Grubhub deal talks. Grubhub is closing in on a deal with a European company, sources say. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin testifies on implementation of CARES Act on Capitol Hill. Faber says deal closer with European company. That's going to hurt Uber. That's going to hurt Uber there. Well, I wouldn't discount the possibility of a further move down to 3,200. I think that there's been a lot of activity there, and that's a spot that they could very much try to push for. And they didn't get a good what do we say, pivot there. In this situation, I think I could sell the low here. Well, heck, why not? Why not? Dang it. No fill. That sucked. They touched me, but they turned right back around. I should have had, if I would have just one tick higher. Oh well. It was still an okay trade, right? And they're finding kind of like some resistance here, so they might push down again. Can't really say though. That was about as much as I'm willing to put myself on the line there. Oh, that sucks. McCanney defends Trump for asking legitimate questions about Buffalo protester. Well, so this one is interesting to me. You guys seen this story? So some conservative media are claiming that this guy that got pushed over, old man, got pushed in Buffalo, police taking heat for it, and finally we got a pivot low, by the way, on the Wedman chart. Police getting fired for it and all this. And some conservative media were suggesting that he was trying to scan their police scanners. So I don't know the exact mechanics of how this works, but apparently there are things that you can do with police communication devices to either scramble them or listen in on communications. And they think that he was doing that. So you can see on the video, he definitely is like going for them. But like, is that proof that that's what's going on? I don't think that that's enough proof. And how would you ever prove that that's what was going on? I guess he would have to look at his phone and see what he's got. Let's go look at that video. Let's go look at that video. It's a whole riot squad quit after that. Here it is. Oops. Can I get the tweet itself? Yes. Okay. So here's the tweet itself. See what he's doing with
Winston's
his phone?
mom says nonsense. Sorry, but it's pure nonsense, an attempt to muddy the waters.
Yeah, look at what he's doing to his. Oh, that's already too far. Okay, look at. He's got his phone.
Guido Sledden says interesting to see that the index is being on different price levels, high, middle, or low of session. Sometimes the correlation is 100% and then at moments it's gone.
Do you see that? Look at what he's doing with his phone. Look, he's got it here. He's like trying to hold it in front of the police officer.
Bob the Builder says I saw this movie, lol.
Yeah. Like he goes to this police officer first. Doesn't get anything. He goes to this police officer. And like honestly, well, they say he was trying to return the helmet. He had a helmet. So he does have a helmet. See, then the police come in and they're like, no. Oh man, he's bleeding hard. I didn't realize that he was. I didn't realize he bled that hard. I didn't know that the first time I watched that video. I don't think they shouldn't have pushed him like that, but I mean, here's the thing. If that's what he was really doing, would you be able to get any better proof than that?
Bob the Builder says what did he try to do?
He was like holding his phone up to their body. Like he had the phone and he was like, he held it in front of this guy's chest and then he brought it over here and he held it in front of this guy's chest. So conservatives think that he was trying to skim their scammer. They're trying to skim their communications equipment. I don't know how that works. It sounds like it's a legitimate thing, but like I don't know if you can prove that that's what he was doing. I guess you'd have to arrest him and then look at his phone and see if he had that kind of ability and software on his phone. I don't know. Like, how would you prove that? Right? It's not provable really in the circumstances. That I mean, there's certainly enough evidence to make a case, but not to prove it. Kind of an interesting one, right? But here's what I find interesting about it. Nobody comes in and says, no, that's not what he was doing, and here's proof that that's not what he was doing. I.e., what they're claiming he's doing is not possible, or that you can see his screen. I don't know. Like there could be any number of explanations for it, right? I don't see anybody trying to do that. They just get mad, which suggests some cognitive dissonance there, right? But I just say, if it's just a conspiracy theory, then prove that it's just a conspiracy theory. People use the best argument that they have. It almost seems to me like my liberal friends are just mad because he got caught. Like they actually do believe that that's probably what he was doing, and they're mad that he would get caught and be hurt from doing that anyways. Which I guess is maybe a legitimate opinion, but still, it's like, why isn't anybody talking about the actual allegation? Don't you find that weird? But I guess they're still talking about it because Donald Trump tweeted about it, and that everybody flipped out, and now the press secretary is defending him, saying it's a legitimate question. Well, I think it is a legitimate question if that's what he was doing. I think that would be a legitimate thing to be reported if it was true. CIBC claims FOMC to strike a dovish stance. Well, they actually did move a little bit lower there. Hmm. Oh, I know why. Looks like we had a confirmed pivot on the upside. Basically, we're in range, and everything's all screwy. Looks like they're buying it up, but it's like the buying is like becoming less and less, so they could totally fail here. We'll see how well this push goes. I was thinking about taking it as she goes, but Hmm. Treasury's ticking up. 30, all the way to 30. They just like went right through 02.5. Okay, but remember, here's kind of our spot. I guess we could take 2 or 3 trying to get it up in there, but it won't be clear whether this recent burst of speculative stay-at-home small trader action is the birth of a lasting new market dynamic until all the dentists go back to work. I think that I think that there's some action. These people that are playing with options, okay, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it until they lose the money. As long as they have the money, they're going to keep doing it. As long as they're making money, they're going to keep doing it, right? So, Robinhood is having issues since 9:50 a.m. Eastern time. So for the past 4 minutes, they've been having problems with Robinhood. How do I link this one? Okay, they're making a run for that weekly open. This is not enough there at that spot.
Uzi Knesset says, you know what's funny? In my TradingView app, 2 years ago, I drew up a basic technical chart for a dopey FB post about price action during recessions. Well, that draw up saved and I never really.
So you still have it. So you opened it up and it's still there. So the way that they're acting on the bottom
Uzi Knesset
says,
says, look at DJI, usually YM, and holy shit, that draw up is still holding lol.
oh, that's funny. I've noticed that the Dow Jones does seem to hold lines better for some reason. There's more believers over there, I think. Okay, so the way that it acts on the bottom suggests to me that there could be another push here, but then at the same time, there is some indication that they can move up. So, I'm not really sure here.
Bob the Builder says we close to yesterday's spot.
I'm kind of would be more interested to see them hit 31.92 and see a
Bob
bunch
the
of
Builder
stops
says
go off and then
approximately
reverse.
192.
Now, and it also could continue to do this until the reversal time period or the counter trend time period, right? Overall, things are not as negative as they were yesterday, but they are negative. Oh, okay. Maybe they're going to turn. There's another pivot there. That one's pretty strong. Well, I didn't see enough in the order flow there to feel confident about taking that one. Certainly not in that location. I'm going to be sleepy today. I'm going to need to take a good nap. Oh, shit. Matt Garrett, mini VIX futures coming soon via CBOE. Oh, guys. Yeah, but then you still have to have the connection to the CBOE. I don't know how much extra that would cost. Mini VIX futures would be a big deal, though. Oh, that would be a big deal. Because so many people, let me explain why this is a big deal. Many people, the popular trade in the VIX is to just short it on volatility decreasing. And if retail traders are able to get in on that, okay, like you could see
Winston's
crazy
mom
stuff.
says Uzi Knesset recessions, prescient much? Lol.
Well, I was really thinking about if they could get to 31.92 and then after that maybe I would reverse it. And they didn't quite make it there, and they're already back up into an area where I'm not really confident about it now. So maybe we just don't end up taking any trades. We could see what they do in the counter trend time period, but shouldn't be surprised the way the action is.
Uzi Knesset says I put no real thought or analysis into that draw-up. I did it on the fly just for a Facebook post. It's frying my mind at how well it's holding LMAO.
We probably just drew a trend line. I'm excited about VIX futures.
Uzi Knesset says yes lol.
Well, the thing with especially those long
Uzi Knesset says a few of them, but yeah lol.
I think one of the things you got to remember is that that kind of technical analysis tends to be a little bit more reliable on a daily basis than it does. Like on like 1 minute charts, it's like almost useless, I think. From my testing. But when you get onto daily charts, there are certainly some things because I think really it's like if the trend line gets broken, it kind of tells you something's going on. They're not going to get there unless something's happening. You know what I mean? It doesn't just randomly break it. Like there's got to be something fundamental driving the market, push it down to that level. Elon Musk, Tesla's stock price is too high, in my opinion. Did he just tweet that again? No, that was May 1st.
Gary Rich says mini VIX product, great, more dumb money to take from.
But Tesla is above 1,000 now. Good grief. It is not worth 1,000. I need to go back and look at it, but my recollection was there's no way it's worth $1,000. The mini VIX product would be a great move, great, more dumb money to take from, probably. You're probably right, Gary. I'm gonna bet that if I was gonna go and try and trade the VIX, that I would be terrible at it, because I really don't know how they determine that stuff, I would just be like going there and trying to take it short somewhere. It might be a good alternative to trading the E-mini, though, if it wasn't on the CBOE. That's the other thing. You're probably going to get more Robinhood traders trying to do it than anything. Which I think will just make Gary even heavier. Man, I feel like I got something stuck in my throat. I think it's just mucus, but yeah, you get that, like you feel like there's a lump in your throat or your chest. Yeah. 10-year yields in danger of falling back into the April-May range. It's true. 10-year has been making a little bit of a march up, but they just kind of felt some levels there. So I don't know if France's President Macron is facing an economic disaster, says The Spectator. Last week, the New York Times praised President Macron's management of COVID-19 and asked why the French were not impressed. Trading Floor Audio tweeting that. I wonder why they think that's really significant, though. Oh, we got an outside bar there. Was a down outside bar. I think they might try and make another push down. Guys, I feel so sleepy today. Futures IO was hosting Futures Trader 71 on June 11th. Oh, that's tomorrow. Quick and casual, no prepared presentation, live screen sharing. The floor will be opened immediately to questions. Oh, that should be interesting. Okay, so they kind of pushing down again a little bit. Anthony Crudeli retweeting George
Gary Rich says Dave Portnoy from Barstool is hilarious on Twitter. He is amazed at the FOMO of the market.
I am not impressed with the Barstool guy. I think that he is just taking everybody for a ride. It's Fed Day, so let's make the Fed boring again. Okay, that will probably be hard to do given they're pretty much in every market outside of stocks. See below to read preview and head to Macro Live as they've taken down the paywall to celebrate their 1-year birthday. What is Macro Hive? That sounds like something that I might be interested in. Ooh, 4 days, 23 hours of premium access. Ooh, I like what I'm seeing already. Some charts of yield curve and scenarios. Ooh, I like that. How much is it? Macro high. $39 euro. So they're a euro. Deep dives, exclusive samples. Anthony Crudelli is retweeting them. I don't know, guys. Oh. I like that. Ooh, I think this might be what I'm looking for, guys. Ooh, I like that a lot. You know what?
Gary Rich says, by the way, how has the rabbit been? So busy, forgot to ask how is the
I'm
fluffy
glad
creature.
you asked. So we moved her outside. So she's outside now. I think everybody's a little happier with that arrangement, including the rabbit. And yeah. I don't know. We were thinking about building a hutch like under the chickens. I don't know if that's going to happen now. But she is outside. What's the exclusive sample? U.S. inflation to head higher in 2020. 4-minute read. And they show a couple of charts. I like this. And they have a Slack chat room. I think I will try their trial later today because I'm already impressed. This looks like, I was talking yesterday about how I'm looking for more like zero hedge-esque analysis of macro factors that how would help explain why money is moving where it is and so forth. And I was looking around, and one of them that I thought was maybe worth it was Financial Times, and it's expensive. And I'm like, well, why? Why is theirs so expensive? I don't think that they're giving the data that I kind of want. But I'm looking at this one, macrohive.com, and I'm already see like, without really reading I'm really going to have to go back and read this up. But just looking at like the kinds of charts and the kind of articles that I'm seeing them post here, it is exactly what I'm looking for. And Anthony Crudelli is retweeting it. So this just kind of goes back to, why is it that Anthony is always saying something that's super helpful to me? Damn it, Anthony, if you're listening, just come out, because I love you so much and I would love to talk to you. Just to acknowledge my existence would be like, I would make me so happy. So I just, ever since I first heard him, it was a Futures IO presentation he talked. And I thought that his presentation was so good. I should go back and rewatch that because I don't remember what it was about it that I thought was so good. But I just thought that he was so good at it. Some of his YouTube content I feel is a little, I don't know, it's too professional. Let's put it that way. He does a good job, but it's maybe a little bit overproduced. But it is a good channel, and I'm really impressed with that guy. I don't know if he makes money, but I like him. And it just feels like that whenever I'm sitting here asking myself a question, that he'll post something that helps me answer that question. Okay, they're going to go for it. It's still, the timing is still kind of off. So this is another one of those situations where I look at it. It's like, okay, it's 8:11. We usually enter in this counter trend time period at 8:15 my time. That's like 10:15 Eastern time, right? So if we're having a really strong downtrend and you want to buy it, why do it at 8:12, 8:11, right? So
Bot says he used to be one of the largest volume floor traders of the S on the CME.
did he really? Well, that's kind of where I'm going at. Like, I don't know if he's making money right now. It doesn't really matter. He definitely
Gary
has
Rich says, okay, cowboy, calm down on the Brokeback Mountain love for him. Lol.
He definitely has the credentials. He definitely has. That's one of those, like if the CME is sponsoring you, probably we don't need to see his statements. You know what I mean? But I do kind of wonder.
Bob the Builder says,
how
I
he
made
really
12
trades it.
trade for now.
It seems to me like he does use some technical analysis, but that he's also using some fundamental analysis. But it's interesting to me that the kind of technical analysis that he's most interested in is when the market goes mean reverting based on Bollinger Bands, at least from the videos I've seen so far. Maybe he'll get into other stuff. Oh, you know what else is another thing? Okay, so he did an interview with James Dalton. So that's the other thing is he's got like, um, you're gonna have like industry leading analysts on your show, right? Like that's really cool and really impressive, and I'm glad that somebody is finally doing that sort of thing because I certainly never gonna have. That's never gonna be something that I do. I'm more interested in just doing my own thing in trading, and I make videos when I have something that I feel is not out there elsewhere and that I can really provide value for people. Right? That's when I make my one-off videos. But so they had James Dalton on there. And oh my gosh, that guy said Jack
Winston's mom
Squat.
says, Gary Rich, how is Border Collie?
He was like, what do you look at and everything? And it was just like a description of volume profile. And he really didn't provide any useful insight into it. I thought it was like the most, I was kind of sitting there like, man, James Dalton is not as, that is not what I expected at all. Okay. So I can see my setup.
Bob the Builder says our spot was target.
Yep. 3192 is definitely a spot. You see him go after. And now that we're in the time, let's just watch this really carefully here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There is absorption there. This is a gamble. This is more of a gamble than the other trades that I've been taking lately because it's FOMC day and I don't really have any reason to believe that it's going to do anything. But I guess that's why I'm taking the trade is I really don't see them taking the 31.92 and then just absolutely careening down and having like this huge downtrend day before the FOMC meeting, right? It's going to stay range bound. So the most likely probability is they trigger a couple of stops and then they revert back into the range. Now that's the other issue is they could still come down and go for my stop right there, right? And then revert. So if it fails, it fails. I don't want to try and take it a bunch of times. That's okay so far.
Winston's mom says the legend engraved on the face of the Jewish nickel on the body of every Jewish child. Not in God we trust, but someday you'll be a parent and you'll know what it's like. Roth, part noise complaint. Gary Rich says at MOM she is great. Keeping her occupied with drills like opening cardboard boxes.
Oh, we're talking about the dog. Like, what are you talking about? Drills with cardboard box? What? I should get a collie. One of my dogs, they're getting old. It's a Yorkie. Yorkies are okay, but I don't know if they're really my kind of dog, you know. They mostly just like to sit on your lap, and I actually kind of find them a little annoying. I would much prefer something that like a Pomeranian that wants to play with me all the time.
Winston's mom says she sounds wonderful.
But I like collies. So my grandma had a collie, had a miniature collie. Yeah, smart dogs. Okay, they're doing an okay job so far, and we do appear to be have a downside confirmed pivot. And yeah, they're pushing up.
RJ Wheels says U.S. senators are selling their positions.
I've been seeing stuff for a while that's geez. That's not what you want to see. How much did I end up losing on that? It's probably
Bot
like 10.
says UA at 3194.00.
That was extremely unusual price action. That was indicative of some sort of market
Sebastian
moving
Marquez
news.
says Major of New York discusses reopening.
Nah, that can't be it. That would be good. That one really sucks because I had really good favorable ticks and it just like got creamed all at once. Well, that'll happen on you sometimes. I have to say though, there's probably some news.
Sebastian Marquez says this is crazy, men. Winston's mom says RJ Wheel positions or stocks? What have you read?
Bot says S unfinished auctions on the sell side.
They weren't done there on the bottom. You're right. I'm not seeing news. That totally could just be somebody looking to mess with things, or maybe news in an individual stock. We are seeing. So I got to be really careful with this because if I take it again, then I really don't think I can justify taking.
Winston's mom says 24 watching now, started streaming 119 minutes ago, 60 share save and please hit like. Thanks.
There is a really significant imbalance at the 89 though. When they came through here, they all sold. It just got pummeled through. An imbalance of that nature is not typical. I'm wondering, does the market really think that the Fed is going to rain on the party today or something? Oh, is there a 30-year bond auction today? No.
Bot says S testing buy side unfinished auctions now.
I don't see it on my news.
Bot says 30-year auction tomorrow.
Oh, okay, it's tomorrow. That would make more sense. Like, why would you do an auction on FOMC day?
Bot says they're usually on a Thursday unless it's a holiday week.
Well, I mean, they're building a base. Hmm. I mean, it looks buyable. I don't know.
Bot says I think they moved the 10-year auction up one day due to the FOMC meeting.
Right. Yeah, they definitely did. Which was an interesting auction yesterday, too, wasn't it? Well, the treasuries moved up to new highs when that all happened. So that back to 89, and now you're getting this stuff again. So we went right to where the imbalance was, and now I'm getting clicks.
Bot says ES just tested the minus 50% VIX range target at 3,184.30.
Was it 84.3? Really? I didn't even bother looking at that yet. Well, having a hard time finding a good spot if I want to take it long. $90 is fair, but it's not optimal. It's a little early there. Hmm. It's doing some wild swings now. It's not positive. Hmm. It's getting pretty. I'd say it's getting pretty wild. Uh, wow. He really made that one happen. I don't know who he is, but the way that pushed up, they were intent on pushing it. Because it kind of did that. Maybe we'll stop here, and then they pushed it, and then they did that like 5 or 6 times on the way up there. Whatever this one's ends up doing, I'm going to say it's close. Hmm. I'm feeling wishy-washy here. I'm thinking, well, I could get out and try and get a little bit lower, but then it might just take off, you know? It does look like they're confirming on the downside now. They're confirming it as a head faker at least.
Bot says new hour here.
Yeah, 8:30. I mean, we're in that whole counter trend time period, right? But there was that dive at, when was it? Like at about 10:20 or so. It was really unusual. They were moving up, and then they just careened down. And I didn't see any news, so I guess it was a technical move, but some really whippy action there. Okay, well, I've gotten more favorable than adverse, so what you gonna do? $3,200 is fair. Mohammed El Rain, here's a nice OECD PowerPoint presentation for those looking for a
Bot
nice
says
summary of the
UA at
institution's report.
3194.00 taken out.
Will be of particular interest to economists. Picked 4 charts below and could have included at least 2 more. The recovery will be slow and uncertain. World GDP projections. Oh, yes, it's very slow. Employment forecast. Vulnerable workers facing greater impact. Donald Trump. Great statement to Congress by Jim Jordan concerning defunding our great police. This radical left agenda is not going to happen. Sleepy Joe Biden will be, already is, pulled all the way left. Many, like Minneapolis, want to close their police departments. Crazy. I see the argument that he's trying to make. I don't know if they're being too effective with it as of yet, but let's just see how it turns out. He's trying to say Joe Biden is running as the moderate. I'm not going to do anything crazy.
Bot says UA at 3195.25 holding on the retest.
Wait, what does UA mean? Anyways, and he's saying no, he's not. Look, he's already beholden to the crazy people. It's a good argument. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Bot says unfinished auction.
Oh, right. I'm interested that you're watching that you're interested in the unfinished auctions again today. Okay. I think I should do that. I think unfinished auctions in the E-mini are way more interesting than unfinished auctions in, say, the bonds. Like it's not unusual in the bonds.
Bot says I keep an eye on them every day. I just keep my observations to myself most of the time.
In the treasury, it's not unusual to, print a few into a price and then not be able to clear it. But in the E-mini, they clear almost everything, right? So when you do get a finished auction turn, that's a little unusual in the E-mini. In the last two trading sessions, the cost of protection in VIX has increased 8%. This is significant in context. Heading into an FOMC Fed meeting, the U.S. curve is aggressively flattening. Yen FX is rallying. The 10-year, 78 basis points erased. The non-farms payroll number. The red lights are flashing for a sell-off in risk. He is right, but this is the thing that is so weird about today, is that the market is acting like that the party is about to end. And we have absolutely no reason to believe that that's what's going to happen at today's FOMC meeting. Does the market know? I think that they're speculating in this case, but it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, how can Powell be watching this and not be saying, well, this isn't good and we need to do something about it? He's got to be thinking that. But is he actually going to come in and say, well, stocks are too high, or we're going to rate, like what could he actually say that would really kill the market? I don't know. It could just be that people know that it's a significant event and they're just hedging themselves ahead of time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a huge deal, does it?
Bot says buy side UAs after the turn.
Well, I think that if they come to hear that, they might go through it. So I'm going to move myself more up into here. Kind of play it by ear, what we see in the volume. Okay, let's come over here and look at our volume profile. Okay, so on the way down, there was definitely
Gary Rich
some
says you give the Fed too
3201.
much credit.
You don't think that the action is really being driven by the Fed meeting today? Well, that could be too. I found it
Bot
interesting.
says Val at 3,199.00.
The move in the Japanese yen in particular seems odd to me. There probably is a really good argument too that a lot of people think that this is where a lot of price targets were. A lot of people thought that 3,200 was like their year-end target, so they're not going to be as gung ho about it moving up from here. But I mean, it's pretty undeniable from the chart that a bracketed market before the FOMC is the dominant dynamic in the marketplace right now. Did I use fancy enough language there? to accurately describe what is going on? Okay, so they're turning a little bit here.
Winston's mom says Bloomberg, according to website Robintrack data to show trends in positioning and isn't affiliated, individual investors on the app have been flocking to bankruptcy-protected companies in droves.
Yes. Which makes no sense. Makes no sense. I think that most of it is just following the crowd, Like them moving to bankruptcy stocks says to me that these are people speculating and not investors. Which, if that's true, it kind of should give you pause, right? Because if they were to turn down, what are they going to do? You might not be able to rely on those Robinhood traders to keep you up forever. Okay, well, we're still not
Winston's mom says fear of missing out FOMO.
Not quite out of the few more seconds here, and then we're out of the counter trend time period. I'd say the swings still seem to be getting pretty big today. Okay. Few good takes there.
Gary Rich says the BOJ needs a weaker yen. The attempts to stop its rise against the dollar just gets blasted by FX participants.
Needs a weaker yen. So you're saying that this latest move up is not what they want?
Bot says we'll check back in later. Have a good morning all.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I wish I would love to hear you expand on that, Gary. 'Cause I am more interested in that than anything else right now. I don't understand it. I would really like to understand it better. I know that it's moving up. When the future moves up, that means that the yen is getting stronger. So I know that, but I don't know why. FX participants, why are the FX participants moving it up? What's causing that? What's the driver for that?
Winston's mom says bots have a good morning.
They go back up there and take out that the higher end of the action here up at 31.98, then I think that we could have another pretty good solid move up again, because there's some indications of imbalance there now. So continue to have pretty
Arsalan
strong
Sisoev
swings.
says hi, what do you think about dollar AAL situation?
I don't know a thing about it. No, never heard of that symbol in my life. Know nothing about the company. I I don't want to be rude, but probably couldn't care less. So I'm way more macro. I'm way more interested in macro. And don't really follow individual stocks unless I'm thinking about buying them, like for long-term investments. But don't day trade stocks. Okay, so 31.9. Oh, what the hell? He wants it to go down. He's like, no, go down. Well, I hope they push through him because
Arsalan
he's being an
Sisoev
asshole.
says SRY I mean American Airlines.
Oh, American Airlines. Well, my wife works for an airline company, and she was saying that they were talking about doing layoffs in many of the companies in September. So I think what's happening is that the airlines are going to come and see what the demand is after all the dust has settled.
RJ Wheel says what's the Discord room name? My S.
Yeah, it's in the video description. Is the link for the Discord. Anyways, so they're going to see the dust settle and then they'll see how many workers they need. But I think that the implication from that is that airlines do not expect to fully recover this year.
RJ Wheel says account got crashed.
Just use you create a new account and click the link in the video description. Okay. Bull's trying to dig their way out of here now. Not really going. Yeah. So now after all of that, it's getting incredibly tight. After all
RJ
that
Wheel says duh
whipping
right.
around.
Sorry, my bad.
It's been whipping around, going up like 5 points at a time, and now all of a sudden it's just going sideways within a point. And building a decent amount of volume at 31.91, which is higher than the last place that we distributed. But there's a lot at 94 as well, so.
Winston's mom says American Airlines stock will soon run into some turbulence. AAL stock has been on a red-hot rally, but traders should consider bear call spreads now. By Tim Bigham, Investor Place contributor.
So here's another thing: is everybody's saying, "Oh, Warren Buffett sold the airlines at the worst time," and yet I don't think he did. I mean, sure, he could have gotten a better exit, but I think that for the style of investing that Warren Buffett does, he doesn't want to hold airlines anymore. He wants out of them. So he did the right thing by just cutting losses. Yeah, this is not going to hold. So we can try reversing. Nope. That's a little better. Now, I haven't really been in very good alignment with it today. Maybe I should have tried the treasury. It would have been hard too, though, because there were some pullbacks in there that were pretty ugly. Condition says he was pleasantly surprised by the recent employment numbers. He thought the labor market would bottom in June. There we go. I'm wondering at what point should I have turned around? Maybe at 95. I haven't had a situation like that for a long time, so now would be a good time to kind of decide what to do with it. And certainly breaking the average true range indicators would be a good spot. There was also kind of a place where we're kind of bouncing. And given that I don't really have a super strong driver here for me, a really strong fundamental driver, I should probably have been more anxious to take profits in those situations. But now that we're breaking these lows and we're below, it's game on. Where could we get to? Okay, so right here at 81 is a significant spot that we might see some stops below. And then we got the Friday rally. So then it's like single prints down to 31.45. Let me just move that. It's going to be like at 79 or 78. You see the big order at 78 in the micro. There's a little bit of profit taking here.
Gary Rich says USD, yen, it's the old carry trade and other factors. Look at a weekly chart. Every time it push up to levels like 114, 112, 110, it gets hammerjack back down. Perfect pattern to watch.
You'd have to give me the numbers on the other side of the pair, but you might be a little bit delayed, Gary, because that took a while. It's okay. You can message me on Discord later. I'd love to hear you talk about more. Pulling back here. Yeah. Well. So once again, how to handle it, huh? Well, they did go down to a spot that I was looking for to go to. I have been getting more favorable ticks than adverse ticks today. I just haven't been able to catch good exits. I guess I need to come over here, figure out what the other target is. Because we're well below it now, right? It's 84. So that makes a bit more sense. I think I might have made a mistake up in there. Well, I guess I can't really call it a mistake because none of these trades really count towards the strategy. But if we're just talking from like a technical standpoint, I think I made some mistakes there. Now it's time for me to take a break, so I'll be right back. Oh, by the way, the next number on the downside is 3156.
Roby Mani says what is the next upside resistance? Maxwell Silver says what's the number to watch on the downside? Gary Rich says the USD yen took 4 days to rise to or about 110.3 so far to give up the prize. Gary Rich says USD yen went to 110 recently due to BOJ announcing massive stimulus and it got jacked back to 107.
Oh, well, geez, I made the right decision getting out of that. They're coming back up to a spot where like maybe I think about taking it long again. That is in fact a really good one. Nah, I don't know about that one. That was maybe a little too fast. Pullback there is reasonable. I kind of wonder with the way that it's been moving around in some of these spots, if there's not some people building positions. Like it would make a lot of sense to push it down there like that and then buy on all of the selling. And the amount that we whipped around, especially back about 10:20 Eastern time period, um, that really could have been somebody really trying to build a position. Okay. It's a little bit of resistance at 91, but oh, cool. Okay, so they're back above the weekly open. This rally is starting to look pretty impressive. You know what? I need the CCI on here. Okay. Well, that little turn there is not encouraging, but that might not be as big of a that might not be quite as big of a deal as it looks. Because I mean, look at how high up they were. You know. The full quote is worrisome. The market doesn't want careful on the spending side. Minution, we want to be both careful at this point at seeing how much money is in the economy. A lot of the money is still not in it. And two, I think we need to be much more targeted at this point. Ooh, okay. He definitely believes another bill is needed to put money into the economy. Man, it makes me so uncomfortable to hear them say things like that. Okay. So it's still that 92 spot kind of giving them trouble. Oof, my back is not the best today. The market here is everybody stuck in the great rotation trade? Let's read this. NASDAQ versus Russell futures coming in. Oh. The Russell coming back and the NASDAQ moving up. Okay. He's still fighting it. So have I not seen? Oh, I need to modify this. Okay. 3190. I'm just wondering where the order's been at. There was one at 3191 and there was one at 3190. numbers suggest to me that that up move was not that significant and that there's entirely plenty of room to be able to move up again if they so choose. What time is it? 9:15. Okay. Yeah, they moved past the previous up. So that's good. They did come back to the moving average and find support. Will seek data on economic damage from recent looting. Okay, says Minution. So they don't know how much it is. Oh, by the way, you guys probably left me some comments here. Oh, Ace, how are you? Not even paying attention. Okay. In particular, the USD yen, I will patiently wait for a thrust up to key levels, then come in short and write it back down. I took my short off prematurely. There is yen fix. Okay. Now you notice. I know, right? Well, I when the text to speech is gone, sometimes I don't remember. I'm like way too focused on this. I actually kind of use your indicator as a entry signal on this one. I really should have got into it earlier, but I had one. I'm having a hard time with profits today, though. It's not making it to my spots. Like 95, 96 is great, but I wanted like 132 or 32 even. Bob, is it a real or a sim? Today I'm just doing sim. Not only am I doing sim, but I'm doing it on my experimental sim. So like when I'm trading sim in the summer, I'm trying to keep it so that you know, if I trade and I say this isn't a serious trade, I need to be able to say, okay, if I was trading live, this particular trade I would have taken to sim, so that I can prove to myself that I'm moving over to sim when I need to and things like that. So I have everything on my experimental account right now, which means I'm not very confident in my macro view and where the E-mini is really going to move to in order to really be taking trades. So this is not that this is bad, but it's kind of like good practice, and we're basing largely on technicals with the assumption that they can't really stay below 3192. That I really don't think that we're going to get to the FOMC meeting and be below 3192, or at least much below 3192. What is the next resistance level? Well, I don't know about resistance, but at this point on the upside, I'm looking for these volume profile areas as attractors, right? So the 97 area, we kind of came short of that one time. And then if we do get up, we could get to 3203 or so. So there's kind of this, you see how there's this area of interest right here, and there's this area of interest right here, but then there's also this profile. So if we get back to here, chances are we'll come to here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. And there is a line. What is it? The last pivot. Well, you can see it. 97.75. You see where it stopped last time? That's going to be the line that they're going to be watching, where like once you get beyond that spot, you probably should see some stops. But that's a line that it's like, I would never place a bet based on one of those lines holding. They don't. They like to take them out. Like if I come up and I see that there was a bunch of pivots in that area, it's like almost sure to go through it. Especially when they're close and they got momentum and stuff. But I'm also just kind of watching my my trend. Now that last little move up really increased the trend. We're still not to where it's like excessive or anything, but it was a pretty good trend. It's entirely possible that they come short. I'm sure it's the keyword and not the cooking, Sherry. Have you been quarantined a little bit too long over there, Win? Chapula, the fantastic chopping spatula. I found out how to separate the stops and targets once they get oh yeah. This is not really a thing for me, and since I'm using Jigsaw, but I think I know how to do that. Well, no, I don't know how to do it, but I think I knew that it was possible. I don't know. OCO has never been something that I've really been terribly concerned about because when I exit a position, I just cancel all of the orders. I did used to do this thing where I would want to keep my spot in the queue, and then one order cancels the other would be useful. But thanks, you told me it wasn't possible. I guess I didn't understand what you were talking about. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm full of crap. Maybe I didn't know that was possible. So wait, how do you? Does it have something to do with clicking on the order and modifying it, and unclicking OCO or something like that? Because for me, if I had an issue like that, I would just cancel them and then replace them. It's all good. I have to use chart. Yeah, I have to use chart trader. One of these days, it's going to change. Either Ninja Trader is going to get a good DOM, or Jigsaw gets programming and we all move over to Jigsaw. What is your data? I'm using CQG. Using CQG, and I'm getting the indexes right now. You don't want to trade in front of 30 people and cancel an order. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I love doing that. Well, one of the things that I'll do, because I'm paranoid and stupid, is like when it's doing particularly bad, I start going, okay, something going on here. And I will start messing around with people. I will like put orders and cancel them and stuff to see if it makes any difference. But it doesn't. I'm pretty sure that it's all in my head. Oh yeah. So they kind of are forming a short-term pivot. It actually did confirm a pivot high at 31.9650, but we're also trading in an ascending triangle formation. I think that one's probably a crapshoot, but those do tend to resolve to the upside well. I only traded 3 contracts, so it's not a big deal. Cool. You right click on the stack of orders. It gives you a chance to increase or decrease the price. Oh, I see. When I'm trying to teach the room how to trail a stop, it's nice to be able to have one left up as a runner. Yeah, you know what? I had a really good trade on the initial move up. Well, even on this one, it's like, what should I be trailing my stop to? Well, I should be at least doing that. In fact, I think I should be doing that. I don't like trailing it too close though, because the way that I'm trading, I have a spot where I feel like it should get to. I think they should make it back to 3,200. No reason that it would have to. It's just, it's not really good context for that kind of a trade, isn't it? Which is why, again, we're using the experimental one. Let the first two often get hit at 2 points and then try to trail stop the last one. They came with a new trail stop indicator. Wait. Does it look anything like that? Does it look anything kind of like that? A little line there on that chart in the lower right that I just pulled over? It's not like an ATR stops type of a thing at all, is it? I should have on this other one got, like, I had this long from here. When it came and it hit that, I should have taken it off. That was a mistake when that happened. One issue with trailing or moving the stop up is quick reversals or snapbacks. Yes, scary. Yeah. I don't like doing it. Whenever I've done back testing and I try and use a trailing stop, which just trails by a certain number of ticks, it always decreases the expectancy of the system. I've never once seen it increase the expectancy of the system. I think it's just a moving average. Not sure. They don't tell me because they know I just hack it and start my own company. Well, what kind of a stop do they call it? But I mean, does it look like that? Does it look like that where it draws a line on the chart where your stop should be? And you can see it move up as the chart moves up? This one is really cool because, well, it's not really cool. It's nothing complicated. It's setting a stop based on the average true range. Right. I get that my style is to pick up 2 points and then I'll try to let a runner run. Yes, it moves and change. Ooh, it changes colors. Ooh, special. See, this one is good. Like, I don't necessarily use this as my stop, although I certainly can. My take on it though is like right now, if I want to take a short, like that's super hard because it's clearly in an uptrend and it's such an effective trend signal. Such an effective trend signal. And it's kind of like when it hits that ATR stop, then you know that people got stopped out. So there's a good chance of it flipping down. Now it'll do like what Gary is saying. Sometimes you get these situations where it'll, I don't know if I have a good example today. Oh, sure. Like this one right here. See how it came up above it and then almost immediately went back down. It will do that to you, but I've taken trades based on it changing color. It's decent at that. I don't know. So I don't know if I don't think I've been able to go through it while you've been around, but one of the things that I've been looking at is that you think about the market, the naive model of the market is that The market is this black box that sends you data, and then you make your decisions off of that data, and it's all pure and whatnot. And that is like the technical analysis naive approach, in my opinion. Now, I believe that the more accurate our model is to the market, the more accurate our trading will be. So let's try and improve that model. Well, one thing is that it's not really a black box, because when you send orders, you're sending orders into the market, and those affect the market. Okay. And there's lots of other people doing that. So there's this fractal nature to the markets, which is that what we use as our input, which is price and volume, we use to generate orders, and then those go back into the market. And there's a bunch of us, and everybody has their own different strategies. And you can categorize these different types of traders or groups. Like there's CTAs, and there's the market makers, and all of this, right? Well, with the orders coming in, that's order flow. Okay, so here we can say there's data. Maybe I need to take it. Let's just hold tight, because if they take me out there, it's fine. Anyways, you could have situations where different sets of orders result in the same price. So to really understand what it's doing, you have to be able to look at the orders. So that is order flow, right? Looking at the orders coming into the markets. But then there's another component, and that is that all of those traders are also looking at information coming from outside of the market and incorporating those things into their strategy as well. And so my contention is that fundamental information is more predictive. That what you're getting with just technical analysis, just the market generated information, has a limited amount of edge, just by the fractal nature of it. Whereas when you get something that's fundamental coming in, that really affects it and can be really predictive. So when I'm taking trades, I'm trying to take it based off of something happening, you know? So when I take it, well, out there, they took it. But it's okay. I come out. See, I'll show you where I could, if I had been trailing a little bit better, because all of those had some favorable excursion. In fact, had more than adverse excursion. I just didn't take the profit, and I didn't really manage it when it came back. Like that one in particular, really shouldn't have let it come back all the way, but it came back so fast. So. I've seen so many software with built-in algos on percentage moves of VWAP, ATR over X days, moving average, and many other factors. Oh, StockTwits info was involved as well. It's pretty cool to see this. Yep. But all indicators are lagging. Yeah, well, that's true too. Have you tried the Super Smoother, Ace? You should try the Super Smoother. I'll show you here in a second. Anyways, so my take is I would rather know if X thing happens and it affects the market, where are we likely to move to? So the technical things that I'm more interested in right now are things that tell me a price that the market is likely to be interested in. In this case, it was around 95. It probably should have been where I took it off, but I thought that it was going to be up in here. Anyways, that was the whole point of all that, is I'm more interested in things that help me determine where it is going to go to. Like my philosophy is know where it's going to and base everything off of that, instead of saying, okay, here's the direction and like trailing it and trying to determine based off of how much momentum it is, how much it can actually keep going. Because we all know that sometimes it keeps going and sometimes it just like sputters out for no reason, right? So that's not really a very reliable way of doing it. Whereas if I know where it's going to go to, I can very clearly define my risk-reward ratio. And if I have something backing up why it should do that. Yeah. Anyways. What was it? The Super Smoother. Okay, so I have like the 10-minute SMA on there. Okay. Let me show you. You can get these from Lizard Indicators, but I have one that kind of changes colors. super smoother filter. So this is by Euler. We were showing this earlier today. Let's just do the default period for a second. Okay. So when you look at the default period, you can notice that it follows that EMA pretty closely, even though it's not doing volume. So, okay, interesting. Might have it on the 1 minute. Oh, I do have it on the 1 minute. So let's change the period to be a little bit bigger so that we have a slower filter. Okay, now we're at 30. And look, it's pretty close to your simple moving average. It's a little bit more responsive. So here in this case, super smoother got you in just a little bit faster. And here on this side, the super smoother got you in a little bit faster. So it's close, it's similar. But where the super smoother really comes in handy, if I just take that one off now. By the way, that turned back down really fast. The filter that's on this chart really shows you what it's actually doing. Very effective. Very effective at removing all of the noise, but not being slow. And the way that he does it is he uses the same kind of algorithms that they use for like power to filter power and audio and things like that. So it really is like, let's just remove the noise. Okay. Now look at it on this tick. I have the tick here up. Look at the super smoother on the tick. Way more useful than the tick itself, right? So go to lizard indicators and find the super smoother. Because it's awesome. I'm still a little bit skeptical about all these moves. I mean, it did move down and all, but if they sit down here for a little bit and then it gets back above 3193.75. So right here. Right here. Just put an X there. So we have to have it be away from there for a little bit, but if it comes back, it is it's great. That I should take. That would be worth taking. My overloads have a whole slew of indicators. I refuse to use more than 3. Is that on Ninja, the suite of indicators? Yeah. So hold on. Let me show you. What you want to go to is this is like the
Ace Trade
best
says at Winston's
well-known.
mom howdy.
Oops, gotta close that. The best well-known suite of indicators. So if your guys don't have it, you can get it from here. Here's lizard indicators, and if you purchase it, it's like $100 for a lifetime license. But you don't even need to do that. You can just go into their indicator library, and I think the super smoother in particular is going to be. Let's see, here's a trend analysis that it will be under. No, that's ADX. All indicators. I'll just go there and find it. Super smoother filter. So you can come in here, and then you can download it if you haven't downloaded too many for that month or whatever. Lizardindicators.com. So they have the super smoother. The other one to look at is the this was the one that Euler thought was worthwhile. Oh, maybe it'll let me download it now. Yeah. I should just go and pay for that, but I don't feel like doing it right now. I don't have the Mesa on there. I can recreate it, but that one's a really good oscillator. It'll get you in early. Maybe I need to tell them my Seth indicator. Only 3, don't need to cut her. I mean, this chart right here really bothers me because it's so complicated, I feel. But it's not like I use it that much. But it's just kind of like there's a lot of little things. Hey, they took out my little spot, but they did it too quickly, so I don't know if I would actually have taken that. Like I added this CCI on there because I wanted to see when we took this one if how much they considered that trend was, and it really wasn't that much. So of course they could go for more. And I like the tick thing for sure, but then I've got all this stuff. Like I've got 5-minute bars behind, and I've got the super smoother, and I've got an EMA, and I've got the trailing stop, and I've got the price pivots, which really makes this messy. And then I actually even show specific points. So it's like, yeah, it's too messy. Well, on that last trade, I took it at 87. So they would have gone and stopped me out. But it does look like they are going to go head towards my area. So I think that in that case, the trade wasn't bad, but it just was, too slow and too far for what I tend to look for. So it's okay. But in all, when I took those trades, I could have done way better managing them. But so it only came out to 125, but we're still doing okay considering. And they were all in the experimental account. So that chart gives me epilepsy. Now this one down here, people love this one. I get asked about that all the time. It's just unique, I guess. And it is a good way if you want to kind of look for ACES stuff. But I don't know. It's done pretty good today, hasn't it? It's done okay today. If you trail the stop right and everything, I can give you one right there. Then you could do it again right there. And you could even try, and I've noticed you get one and then you get it bounced. And this one is maybe a little bit harder. This one you might have been a head fake. And maybe you could have done this one too. You went short at 31.96. Oh, that was this one. Oh, no, it was not that one. It must have been somewhere else. Or maybe earlier. And the better oscillator is Euler's Fisher transform. It's simple and it shows add ATR. It's very simple, makes CCI look retarded in my opinion. Oh, I have to look at that one. I don't look at the CCI for turning point per se. I look at the CCI as comparatively speaking, how strong is this trend? Because something that I think I have a hard time with is it takes off and then it's like, okay, but how big of an impulse was that compared to that last one? Was it really bigger or less? And like, how much should I factor it in? And I feel like CCI does a really good job at quantifying that. I didn't know that there was a Euler-Fisher transform. I'm gonna have to go back and look for that. But I should go now. I got like 2 minutes before I got to be in on a meeting. So I will see you guys later. I will see you guys at noon. Be here for the FOMC. So I'll see you guys at noon. Well, 2 o'clock Eastern time. Until then, stay profitable, friends.